I'm Dr. Jennifer Degler. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I would like to help you learn how to make your stressed out brain chill out. I help a lot of clients with anxiety and worry and how to manage those things. And so that's a lot of what's going on in our country right now, a lot of anxiety and a lot of worry because there are a lot of unknowns. And so this is a series of videos to help you understand worry and anxiety in yourself, maybe in your children, the people that you love, and how to manage it better. And so this first video is going to be about understanding what anxiety is doing to your brain. So I want you to put your hand right there on your forehead. You feel that? Right there behind your forehead. That is your prefrontal cortex. That is the last part of your brain to fully develop. It's the manager in your brain. It's where executive functioning is. So that's things like logic, planning, reasoning, social judgment, impulse control, managing your emotions. All of that is right up there in that prefrontal cortex. And so it's kind of like the adult part of your brain. And when you're thinking clearly and you're thinking rationally, that's the part of your brain that you're really using. Now that prefrontal cortex, it does not fully develop until you are at least 25, maybe even a little bit older than that. And that's why you can be 21 years old and you can understand calculus, maybe better than your parents understand calculus, but you still think it's a good idea to drive with your feet on the steering wheel and your head out of the sunroof. That's because that part of your brain that has to do with social judgment hasn't fully come online yet. That's why you can rent a car when you're 25, because your chance of being in an accident dramatically drops when you turn 25, because that prefrontal cortex is online and it's telling you that's not a very smart thing to do, to drive in a dangerous way. And so most of the time we're going throughout our day and we're using our whole brain, and our prefrontal cortex is online. We're making judgment calls, we're seeing things logically, and we're going about our business, and we're not particularly worried or anxious. But sometimes that prefrontal cortex goes offline. Okay, now I want you to make a fist. I want you to take your thumb first, put your thumb across your hand, and then make a fist like this. Okay, now pretend this is your brain. So here's your spinal cord going up into your brain. This is the front of your brain where your pinky finger is. So this is like your eyes are looking at you like this. And then here's the top of your brain. It's the top of your fist is ripply, like the top of your brain is ripply, with that cortex, that gray matter. And right up here at the front, right here, this would be the prefrontal cortex. And so if we are to peel back the cortex, then from here down in your brain, this is the brain of a dog, and running across your brain, just like my thumb is running across my fist here, is the limbic system. And so it goes like this across your brain. It's like a headband, but instead of going this way, it's going this way, and it's in the middle of your brain. And this is the seat of emotion. And so right here at the top of your thumb, that's where the hypothalamus is. That's the master gland. You may remember from biology class, if you're studying the brain, if you don't know the answer, just put hypothalamus, because it does so many things in our brain. And right here, where the pad of your thumb is, that is your amygdala. That is your deep limbic system. And it's so deep in your brain, it's sitting on top of your brain stem. You know, that part at the base of your brain that's controlling a lot of functions that are involuntary, like breathing and digestion and heart rate, things you don't even think about. You just automatically do them. Well, this amygdala is sitting right on top of that brain stem. And so that's your deep limbic system. And the amygdala is like the smoke detector in your brain, just like the smoke detector in your house. It's not very sophisticated. It is designed to detect smoke. And so it'll go off if your house is on fire. And in that case, you're really in danger and you're glad that smoke detector went off. But if you just burn toast, then that going off of the smoke detector is just annoying because you're not really in danger. You're going to have some uncomfortableness as there's some burnt toast smell in your house. So the amygdala, it scans for danger in your environment. It's looking to see, is there anything dangerous out there? And if it thinks something is dangerous, then what it does is it sends a message up to the hypothalamus. And there in your hypothalamus, you have stress receptors. And if the hypothalamus gets that message, hey, there's danger, we're in danger, then it activates your fight versus flight versus freeze response. And it throws you into emergency. And it switches your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxed part of your nervous system, into the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight versus flight. And when this happens in the brain, boom, we flip our lid. And that part of our brain, that prefrontal cortex, that's logical and rational and can plan and is organized, sensible part of our brain, that part goes offline. And so at this point, we go limbic. And we're really operating with the brain of a dog. And this is what happens when we get really stressed out, is sometimes it's a true emergency. And, boom, our child comes running in the room and they've got a broken arm. And we're going to emergency mode. But other times, it's not an emergency. It's just a worry. And we're thinking, what if I run out of toilet paper? And we're imagining this scary scenario where we run out of toilet paper. And even though we're not actually in danger, that actually hasn't happened, our amygdala has sent that message up to the hypothalamus. It's activated us, and now our brain has gone offline, or at least the prefrontal cortex has gone offline, and we're running around. Even though we have tons and tons of toilet paper in our storage room, we're running around like we're really in an emergency situation. And so this whole flipping your lid, this is why when you're really stressed out and really anxious and somebody comes up to you and they're like, oh, you need to relax. Just calm down. What are you so worried about? Just chill out. Is that helpful? No. What do you feel like doing to that person? You feel like punching them, don't you? Yeah, that's because their prefrontal cortex is online and it's trying to talk to your prefrontal cortex, but yours has gone offline. You have the brain of a dog. That's why you start barking at people who tell you, calm down, chill out, when anxiety, fear has made your brain flip its lid. It's really important for us to understand this process and when this happens, so that we will use body-centered techniques to help calm this part of our brain down. Because language is up here. It's in the cortex. Your dog can't talk. Language is up here. This is where spirituality is. It's up here. And so when people are perhaps spouting Bible verses at us or trying to talk logically and rationally to us about why our fears are not valid, we can't really hear that. We can't really receive that because we're operating with the brain of a dog. So we need first to calm this limbic system down so that this prefrontal cortex comes back online and can better operate with the full brain. We need all of this. We need all of our brain working together so that we can accurately perceive what's going on in the world. Are we in danger or are we just in discomfort? And what do we need to do next? So that's some explanation of what's happening in your brain when your brain is hijacked by fear and hijacked by worry. So in our next video, we're going to continue talking about this and why you may be a born